it will be sent to us, and we'll answer it either in the course of the presentation or during the Q&A section that comes at the end. We want to make sure that we get through all the information and also answer your questions. To make it easier for you to see the screen, you might notice in the upper right-hand corner of the PowerPoint presentation itself, you'll see a little box with 4 arrows pointing outwards that says maximize. If you click on that, it'll actually make the presentation the center of your screen and bigger, to make it easier to see the content. So please take advantage of that. We are now recording, so just FYI for future for reference. So thanks for bearing with us while we get all the technical explanations out of the way. And I'll turn it back over to Amy.
Thank you, Cassie, and thanks for sending the links, everybody. I did send it over, so I think we should be good. And welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is a really exciting program we have set up today. Third Sector Today, in partnership with All Sports United, are very proud to present our guest speakers, Annette Cook and Cassie Dennis. Annette is the co-founder and executive for Ticks for Cause, which you'll hear a lot about, I hope. And Cassie Dennis is the heads up Social Raise, and I'm going to give you a little overview of them in a moment as well. So today, thank you. Cassie just gave an overview of how to use this particular platform and be able to really optimize your experience. Please feel free to submit in the chat box any questions you might have. As we go, if you have questions about technical issues, I'll certainly try to help you. At the end of the overall presentation, at the end, we'll save some time for Cassie and Annette to answer questions that you guys have. So even though you are muted, that's really just to cut down on the amount of background noise and interruptions. We do want to hear from you. We want to be able to answer your questions and really give you a powerful tool to help your nonprofit organization. So let's get started. Hello, my name is Amy DeVita. I'm the founder of Third Sector Today, and I actually run 2 sites, Third Sector Today and Top Nonprofits. And we're websites dedicated to the management and leaders of today and tomorrow for nonprofit organizations. We cover a variety of topics, often marketing, technology, fundraising, employee engagement, everything that's out there. What we're trying to do is be out there to find tools and useful resources for those of you who are in the trenches and, making this a better world. We're trying to find the tools that can help you so that you don't have to look for that in addition to everything else you do. So hope that you'll continue to rely on us for information and tips and insights, and keep in touch. And through our website, our newsletters, we have podcasts and webinars, events like this. We are working with, this is a joint production. We are working with All Sports United, which is a community of and for sports philanthropy. And what All Sports United, and we're talking about folks, we've got Alan on board here, one of the co-founders, and Scott Manthorn. And All Sports United is a community that's really driven to help develop best practices for the community of sports philanthropy, also supports educational and provides educational resources like this event and unique networking events. They hosted the Humanitarian Award with Matt Light, and the Light Foundation were the grand winners of that particular award, and does some fabulous work. Also, they have an event coming up tied into the Super Bowl, tied in with the Super Bowl, and it's all about gaming. So that's exciting stuff. Keep your eyes open for that. Now, I would like to talk to you and introduce you to today's guest presenters. And we're actually going to start with Annette first. Annette Cook. Annette's a leading figure in the cause marketing and social entrepreneurship arena. She made her mark not only as a socially conscious investor, but also as an executive and co-founder of Ticks for Cause. Ticks for Cause is a national all-event online ticket exchange serving hundreds of charities and nonprofits. This is really important stuff. As As the American consumer is rewarding companies with visible and transparent social purpose, Annette's Ticks for Cause is really becoming a model of what's possible in the cause marketing platform, or the cause marketing arena. This startup has gone national in just over a year. It's an online platform helping more than 800 charities raise needed funds to continue their work in every social arena, from environment to women's rights. A little bit about moving up to the top of the page, a little bit about Cassie Dennis. Cassie is the director at Fundraise. And Fundraise, for those of you in Chicago, you might be familiar, it's a Chicago-based digital agency who helps clients create brand awareness, communicate their messages, and deliver results in this technology-driven world. Clients range from some of the smallest nonprofits to the Fortune 500, though many have a focus on doing good while doing well. And that's really what we're here to talk about doing as well. So thank you all for joining us. With that, I am going to open up the other, hold on a second. Open up the other slide and pass it over to Annette. Yep, here we go. Open presentation. We're almost there. And then, Annette, I'm going to put myself on mute, and if you need anything, just let me know. Thanks.
I will do that. Thanks, Amy. I appreciate the introduction, and I appreciate all of you attending today. It's great. Look forward to letting you know kind of what we know. Cassie and I have done this presentation before, and I think it's rich with content, practical content. So the formal title of our presentation is Expanding Your Nonprofit Development Team Without Adding to the Payroll, and that's, the stuffy formal presentation. But Cassie and I like to boil things down to the practical, and so you could really call our presentation Look Ma, No Hands. I think all of us can kind of think back of when we're trying to learn to ride the bike, and then suddenly, we're off and driving on ourselves, and we're looking to do to help you get out of the driver's seat and put some other people in the driver's seat to free up some of your time. So the goal of it today is to show you a couple of ways really to boost your development efforts without adding to your or your team's to-do list, or without having to hire additional staff. We want you to start thinking of doing more by leveraging online tools and your existing supporters and volunteers in more of a meaningful way. Okay. So the agenda today is, like I said, I will cover the cause-based buyer aspect. I'll talk about who our cause-based buyers are, the difference between what cause-based buyers are and donors, and then really how you can leverage them in really easy ways. And then I'll turn the presentation over to Cassie, and she will talk about and address the social media fundraising, some great content and practical, ways to address social media when you're looking at fundraising. So basically, the idea of cause-based buying is really linking everyday purchases with the idea of doing good. Bottom line, whenever possible, consumers, they want their purchases to make a difference. That's bottom line. If they can seek out those opportunities, the better. It is important to note here that when we're talking about this, we are not talking about incremental purchases. We're talking about cause-based purchases. So these are purchases that they're already planning to make. This is not incremental spend here. So when we look at the broad market in the cause-based buying world, basically we are all cause-based buyers at one point in our lives. I'm sure you can relate, as it's really hard to not see on TV or listen on the radio or see it on your computer or when you're going out into the shopping mall without finding some sort of product that is associated with giving back to a cause. A basic example of this is Yoplait yogurt and breast cancer. I mean, that's kind of a very, basic example. In fact, we are so accustomed to cause-based buying that we as consumers desire more and more of these opportunities. And we actually think positively about those companies that link their products and services with benefiting a cause. I mean, we look at that. Cause-based buying is certainly a trend. It's grown over the last 20 years, and it will continue to grow. And basically, the reason why it's going to continue to grow is because it's a win-win-win. I know that's a coined phrase, but really, cause-based buying is a win for companies, it's a win for consumers, and it's a win for you, the nonprofits. And because of this trend, I'm happy to say that the products and services that have the ability to give back tied to them are not limited to one or two kind of categories. They're really endless products and services that can fall within this category. So who are the cause-based buyers? So if we're going to leverage them, we need to really kind of understand them a little bit better. There are plenty of statistics on the overall consumers. When you Google that, you can find plenty of statistics on that. But when it comes to cause-based buyers, it's really not an exact science because they really do come in all shapes and sizes. You know, I pulled a few of the Cone study stats and put them on this slide here about cause-based buyers. You know, we won't go through them all, but you'll have them for reference. But let's just kind of pull out a couple of them. The one that says 9 out of 10 moms, really the people that are in charge of the household shopping, prefer purchasing products that support a cause. You know, that's important. That's 80% of the household, you know, spend are made by people who really tie themselves with a cause. And then the all-important millennials. I mean, we all talk about them lately because they're up and coming, and they really have a keen eye toward the greater good. You know, they might not have the disposable income to donate money to your organization, but they are more than willing to leverage their existing spend for a greater good. And if you're reaching them and communicating with these millennials on a digital platform, all the better. That's the hot spot that you want to get them to. So suffice it to say that virtually all of us, 300 million Americans, participate in cause-related purchases sometime during our lifetime. There's certainly a trend that is, like I said, significantly increased over the years, and really it's kind of become more commonplace. In fact, everyone is trying to be much more socially responsible. I think those coined terms out there, especially in the younger population, such as the millennials. So when we kind of know that all of us are cause-based buyers, but cause-based buyers are not created equal. How often how often and to what level people seek out cause-based buying opportunities really range significantly between people themselves and really where they are in the stage of their life, throughout their life cycle. So think of cause-based buyers as being on a continuum. One with having purchases made purely for intentional purposes, and the other extreme on the continuum would be purchases that are made not because of giving, but purely because of the product itself. And giving is purely just an indirect benefit of the purchase. A perfect example of this is Tom's shoes. It's a perfect example of the continuum. So one could purchase a pair of shoes to someone in a third world country. So that would be an example of intentional giving. I'm buying these Tom shoes because I know that someone else in some other part of the world that doesn't have shoes is going to get a pair of shoes. On the other extreme of the continuum, someone can purchase Tom shoes because they seem to be a current trend or they're comfortable with no consideration for giving back, and they're more of just a status. If you take a look at, and I saw this the other day, Skechers and even at Bass Pro Shop, they have branded shoes like Tom's, looking like Tom's, and they have some sort of giving component attached to them as well. So you ask yourself, why are people buying Tom's shoes when you have some of these cheaper options out there with a giving component? And that would be because those people that buy Tom are looking for, kind of the brand or the status that comes with it. So I'm hoping you can see with this example that, you have very intentional giving made through purchases, and you have indirect giving based upon that. And you need to capitalize on the intentional cause-based buyers as they already are primed to have their purchases make a difference. So you need to be the recipient of their desire to make their purchases make a difference. It's important to note that unlike businesses, you as nonprofits already have a ready-made source that is exclusively made up of people that fall into this intentional giving category. They are your supporters, your volunteers, your board members, etc. They believe in your mission, so leverage them in the arena of cause-based buying. I want to now take the time to make sure that you see the clear distinction between cause-based buyers and donors. So first, let's take a look at donors. I'm assuming if you're in the development, like Amy said, or in development or fundraising, you're all familiar with that role of donors. So in 2013, according to Giving USA Foundation study, there was $335 billion given to nonprofits in the U.S. That's a lot. And look at this, 72% of them came from individuals. Now, that should be really, really good news for you. I mean, your supporters can not only donate money like they do here, you know, in this giving stats, but they can also give back to your organization through their purchases. Now, I know what you're thinking, and I want you to stop worrying, because research has shown that donations are not impacted because they, you know, with cause-based buying. So they don't diminish their donations because they've given to your organization through their cause-based buying purchases. Because in fact, 86% that they would not impact their donations. They just see these as something, you know, these purchases that they do anyway. So you need to just engage your donors to a higher level of participation, and one that is not difficult. You're not asking them to do anything more. You're not asking them to do anything that they are not already planning to do. So it's just a matter of where they make purchases. You're not asking them for incremental more. In addition to your donors, let's think about the people that come into contact with your organization that are not donors. So those might be the ones that come to your events with a friend that is already one of your supporters, or even your volunteers. They might not, probably most of these, or maybe not most, but some of these are not necessarily your donors currently, or will they turn into donors per se. But cause-based buying is a great way to further engage them with your organization in a non-threatening, no-risk way, and also a way to increase funds differently. You need to add consumer to the list of how you might describe them, and not just for a limited time, but for a lifetime. Here. Americans are amenable to a cause marketing more than ever, like I've said. And so guess what? Corporations or big businesses have responded. In fact, corporations spend over $1.8 billion each year on cause marketing. So why? Well, three main reasons. Increased sales. They're using cause organizations to really differentiate their products and services from their competitors. This is a great way to, if you have equal or like valued products and you can differentiate yourself with a socially responsible component, all the better. Number two, acknowledgement of giving back. You know, what company doesn't want to be known for being socially responsible? And actually they can get great PR from that. But the real reason, in my opinion, the real reason is because they spend money on cause marketing, these corporations, because it's big business. It's really, really big business. So, you know, I don't want to confuse cause marketing with corporate philanthropy or corporate giving, because corporate philanthropy involves a specific donation that is tax deductible, but cause marketing is marketing. It's really a marketing relationship. It's not necessarily based on a donation. So I just want to make that distinction. So companies see the power with individuals spending. So why don't you? Why are you not participating in this arena? And I'd really like to find out how many of you are participating in this arena. So if you would want to, Amy, kind of ask that question out there as it relates to how many organizations that are on this call are actually leveraging cause-based marketing or cause-based buying in their development practices, that'd be great.
Annette, I'm going to put the poll up in just a moment. So
okay, great.
Thanks.
So like I said, just you need to see them. You need to see your constituents as consumers. And just like with any consumer, you need to make sure whatever cause-based programs you are associated with provide value to them. They want to make sure their purchases make a difference. They also want to win. They want to get something for it. This is why people participate in your silent auctions and wine pools and all of those other things, right? They give to you because they get something back in return. All right. So people are more apt to participate in cause marketing activities if they actually need the product and services that you're recommending to them, and that they're not just incremental to what they've already planned to spend. That's really a no-brainer. Amy's indicated that I work for a company called Ticks for Cause, and that's great. We are, again, an online platform to help nonprofits raise money through the entertainment ticket arena. We're a prime example of a cause-based buying opportunity for nonprofits. So, you know, millions of people are out there buying entertainment tickets this year, and I guarantee you your supporters are a part of those. So just giving them the opportunity to purchase those entertainment tickets at no additional cost to them and benefit your organization of how you are bringing value to them. Another example of one of these, you know, cause-based marketing platforms is Amazon Smile. Just like buying Amazon, you know, you can buy all of your books, and there's millions of products on Amazon these days. But if you register your organization through Amazon Smile, your supporters and constituents can purchase those products on Amazon through Amazon Smile and benefit you along the way as one of the organizations to benefit. So that's a perfect example and another arena of kind of the product line that's expanding in this category. Another example is One Hope Wine. We've done much business with them. They basically sell wine, and in the various types of wine, you know, like the Chardonnay and the Merlot and the Cabernet and the Zinfandel. Each one of those categories represents a cause category. So one is like a breast cancer awareness, and another might be, you know, I don't know them off the top of my head, but each of the wine is benefiting a cause. And so that's just another type of, you know, organization that kind of represents and has leveraged this cause-based arena. So, and then really, consumers want to understand just how much their spend is making a difference. They don't want to be part of something that's really not meaningful. And I'm going to give you an example. We absolutely critical to be transparent. The example I use is McDonald's. A while ago, a few years ago, they had a campaign where every Happy Meal that was purchased gave back to the Ronald McDonald House. And I think they still do that now in some of the change. You can, you know, put your, you know, change in there. But a few years ago, they actually had a concerted campaign where a certain amount of every Happy Meal was going to go back to the Ronald McDonald House charities. And it was a phenomenal program, and they raised millions and millions of dollars for the Ronald McDonald House charities. But the problem is that a couple of consumers found out that the amount that was given per Happy Meal was really only 1 cent. I think it was 1 or 2 cents that was giving back per Happy Meal to the Ronald McDonald House charities. And so these couple or few consumers were outraged by the fact that they could not, you know, that such little amount was giving back. But But what they didn't see and what they weren't told is that they were not included in the whole idea that as a whole, this particular program was raising millions of dollars for Ronald McDonald House Charities. So that just goes to the fact that you have to be transparent. Transparency is key. So, for example, we here at Ticks for Cause, we've received significant positive feedback from our consumers saying how much they like the fact that we indicate on our site that 90% of any donated tickets that sell go back to the organization that the donor selects, and that 7.5% of the exchange tickets that are out there, that are available out there on other exchanges like StubHub and Vivid Seats and those kinds of things, 7.5% of those are going to come back to the organizations the purchasers select, as well as every, confirmation that our system presents says specifically how much money was raised based upon that transaction. So it's critical, it's key and critical that that the consumers understand the impact that their purchases are giving, and that there's nothing hidden. They want to get something for something, they want it to add value, and they also want to know the impact that their purchases have gone. So really, if you take a look at, it's easy. It's really, we talk about leveraging your supporters, but how? It's just really easy. Remember at the beginning I said that, Cassie and I were coming to here today that said you don't need to be IT masters or you don't need to add additional staff. Well, we really truly meant it. It's just as easy as telling people in your network about these opportunities to benefit your organization. Making cause-based buying initiatives really needs to be a part of your every event, your direct mail, your newsletters, your emails, your board meetings, your volunteer meetings. Everybody within your organization needs to know about these opportunities and need to be promptly, politely, I should say, reminded and prompted that these opportunities exist so that their habits start to change and that they can remember instead of, going to XYZ, they go to ABC because that ABC benefits your organization. And I want to make sure that don't forget the UPS guy. I have a prime example. The UPS guy comes in our office all the time. And he came into our office for over a year. Finally, one day he stopped and he said, "What exactly do you do?" And when we described to him what our platform was all about, he said, "Oh my gosh, my wife has a nonprofit and they could really utilize this group." And they turned into one of a great case study for us because they started to people started to hear about it. They started to donate tickets to their organization on our site. People started buying tickets. So never ever underestimate the power of the word of mouth. That's pretty much it. But I just must stress, it really cannot be a one and done. Like I said, you need to incorporate these into every, kind of a subtle message into everything. If you ask radio and media experts, they will tell you that people need to see something or hear something multiple times before it takes hold or before it comes top of mind, and this is really no different. So remember, cause marketing is really a relationship. Look at it this way. If someone asked you to dinner once and then never followed up with you again, would you consider that a relationship? And I really don't think you would. So it's really just about continually mentioning this opportunity with them. Again, it's in a, cause-based marketing is a really great message to get out there. It's a non-threatening, no risk. You're meeting people where they're at, and that's at the purchase level. So that's really what I have on cause-based purchasing, cause-based buying, and how it can benefit you. It's really simple to do. And we here at Ticks for Cause, which I'm sure, like anybody else, will help you kind of market this in all of these arenas. so that, you're doing this effectively. So with that said, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Cassie Dennis with Social Raise, and she can talk more about the whole idea of social media fundraising. Cassie?
Hi, thanks so much. Thanks, Annette. Hi, everybody. I know it's hard to think about cause-based marketing sometimes when you're a small organization, but there are opportunities, and there'll be some things that we'll talk about here that cross over to that concept as well. So hang in there with us, and we can talk more about that as we get into the Q&A later in the session. I'm going to take over the reins from Annette and talk a little bit about the new social fundraising model. And this is something you guys live with every day, and we do too, as a digital agency helping our clients do this. But, you've got all these folks that you've traditionally or even not traditionally reached out to via the direct mail or technology to get them engaged with your organization. Folks that are typically, we put them all in this big lumpy category called constituents, but in reality they have lots of different relationships with you guys. They have, the folks in your community, their organizations, their staff, their youth members of, the family members of staff and participants in your programs, people that you help, your volunteers, social workers and other folks for service organizations that might interact with you, vendors, folks who are supplying you with coffee, or the UPS guy, as Annette said. You interact with them in lots of different ways and engage with them, and there's lots of different ways you've done it. Besides direct mail, there's also, of course, all the social media aspects. And, of course, what you're trying to do is, get them to take action. Participate in events, whether as somebody buying a ticket or working the event, you're doing advertising, sponsorships, trying to get them to donate either once or forever. And of course, you're getting them to either buy something or to donate, leveraging e-commerce, things like that. And of course, trying to generate more leads. Excuse me, I did not mean to hit that button right. And of course, the total goal is, of course, to increase fundraising and to support your cause and to drive your mission with the funds needed to make it happen. This has been traditionally how you did it. You worked from getting to a person, getting them to engage, and getting them to react, hopefully with a dollar participation. But today, with so much going on and with so much wrapped around the digital age of fundraising, it takes more than just a handful of people or one person in an organization going out and trying to get all this done. It really requires a combination of leveraging technology as well as leveraging content, the materials, the information, all of the different things that you and the folks that we work with create to really kind of get the story out there, because it's really about telling your story. You know that your story resonates, why people should care, what's important about what you're doing, why your mission is so important. That really resonates with people who hear it. And it will really touch the heart of someone out there. How do you get that out there when there's only a couple, three of you, and you've got limited budget, and you want to put that budget towards driving the mission and actually in direct service organizations toward the services? Well, it's really about creating content that lives beyond you. And that voice really does, that voice, as we call it, helps create engagement, whether it's for people's time, people's money, people sharing that word of mouth, as well as, of course, leveraging team-driven kinds of fundraising. And this comes into play no matter whether you're doing it for individual donations, and Beth just chimed in and asked about what about if we only have corporate funders. Believe it or not, this is true even with the corporate world, because technology is what drives creating awareness and creating credibility in those realms. So let's talk a little bit about that, and we'll get into it further. Let's talk about content. Here's where people get nervous, because I'm a marketer too at heart, and I've worked in nonprofits and I've worked in fundraising capabilities, and actually I sit on the marketing committee of one of my favorite organizations, and we work really hard at putting together messages and information that helps that communicates who we are, what we do, and why it's valuable. And handing that content over to someone else to do and someone else to use is scary, giving up control. So what we really want to do is set up infrastructure to be self-sustaining and effective. First off, again, look, Ma, no hands. You don't have time to have some staff person or even a volunteer dedicate all their time to doing the ask every time, to sending email out every time, to doing all these different things to try and engage people. You need content that helps you do that increases engagement, that makes it more searchable for your organization on the web. That ugly search engine optimization term that people hear about. You basically want people to be able to find you using technology or by word of mouth. And as we started to talk about corporate, getting the word out. Corporations are made up of people. Let's start there. Corporations are made up of people, and people in their individual roles as consumers as well as members of corporations are out there living in this world of email, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. And they're going to hear about you, and they need to and hear what people are saying about you via those platforms. So by creating credibility and creating information that really tells your story through these mediums will really give you an opportunity to be successful. And it allows you to tell your story your way with some help. One of the ways to do that is really to leverage what pretty much everybody has to have today, because it's the way the world verifies who we are and who we say we are. Your website, your home base, your face to the digital world and to the entire world actually these days is through having an effective core tool that allows you to leverage it for telling your story, for having a home base for all that content. In this example, and I use this example because I like what they did. They are not a client. This is the World Wildlife Fund's website. I think they did a good job of it. So without being salesy, I use their site to illustrate the points because I think they did a nice job, and I think it's one that many people know. So I used it as just a well-known example. But here, right when you come into their site, they've got a headline of, okay, what's this about? Who is this about? And why should you care? The moment you land on their page, whether by choice or by happenstance, you kind of know what they're doing in regards to people in Malaysia and the images. So this tells a story even with just a couple lines of text. If you were visiting your home page, if somebody who didn't know you stopped by your website, would they know who you are? Could they at a glance tell, hey, I provide special recreation opportunities for kids in my region. We are an advocacy organization to help prevent homelessness. We are. Could they tell what you do and who you are and who it affects at a glance with just a small amount of reading? I hate to say it, but unfortunately, with all this stuff coming at us all day and every day, people's attention spans are kind of short. What used to be able to take a whole paragraph to say, we really do have to use one bullet point, an image, a headline. Can you give someone a snapshot of who you are and what one aspect of what you have to offer? you engage them in those short miniature moments. And here's where it gets scary. You're going to let people share information out, and also, of course, augment that information via all types of ways, with being able to allow them to access your information, and not have it be sorry, all of a sudden a dog started barking in the house, working from a home office. But what happens is you have to let go of some of the control, but provide them with the information that lets them leverage it and keep telling your story the way you want it told, by using video, by using content that you've developed, you've vetted, sells your story, sells your marketing, but then shared out through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through other ways that you've set up on your website to allow them to do that. For instance, this was part of the advocacy section of the World Wildlife Fund. They not only gave folks ways to help, but it tells them exactly, here are the data points, here are the statistics, here's what you need to know, and here's how to share it, and here's the snapshot comment with the overview. So it really enables them to tell your story the way you want it told and not make up too much. Because if you don't give them the information, they're going to guess. And we all know what happens then. It gets a little scary. One of the things is making it visually engaging and include your message. So in this case, it was set up on their site so that they could easily share out this image of this beautiful giant panda with the lines of text. It goes to Facebook, and someone can just quickly say, hey, this is a great charity, you should support this. Oh, save the giant panda. Save my favorite panda bear. I had a panda when I was a kid, whatever. But you can't always control exactly how they say it, but at least your image and your message are there in a way that's easy to share and that gets your point across, okay, even if it's dressed up with some little weirdness that somebody says. So, and one of the things is you want to make sure that you give people different ways to engage. Use your content because some folks are going to be able to give you money. And of course, that's great. Somebody who can write a check. But that's not always what you need from someone, though it's always a good thing and that powers your mission. But you also need folks who can advocate for you if you're involved in advocacy work, folks who can volunteer to work their time and their energy and their expertise. Give them different ways to engage because that way they can see all the ways they can help you. Some folks are going to want to dive in head first and do everything they can. Other folks may not have the money, but maybe they have time to give. Maybe they love to be vocal, and so they're wonderful advocates, and they'll go out and tell your story, do speaking engagements for you, solicit for you. They may not have the money themselves, but they may have the time, the energy, and the expertise or the willingness to learn. So give them ways to engage and give them the information they need in order to know what it takes to do that and how to get in touch with you or to sign up online or to self-sustain their process by giving them things they can share into content and messaging that lives beyond your site but can be generated by you. As we were talking about with advocacy, in some cases, you want people to speak up at the local, state, or national level, and to help advocate for change in the laws or in business approaches, sign a petition, solicit a change in legislation, etc. So that appeals to some folks. So make sure that you tell them and you create that environment for that, so that they can do it as automated as possible. So take action now, click here, make it so that it's all very simple and straightforward and easy for them. And you want to add layers. Since if you had clicked on that take action and filled out the the petition that says, yes, I want to be careful of these fishing areas. You then are presented with both a thank you, which of course you'd get anyway, and all of us would set it up, but what's really going on? How can you do other things to help stay involved? And it gives you ideas for what you can do at home, how can you spread the word, and how can you think about things. In your arena, whether you're helping kids play soccer who otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity, or you're helping drive cures for a cause, there are ways that people can help in lots of different ways. Make sure to give them those ideas. You know, it's another way of keeping them involved, getting them involved, and getting them more deeply involved. And so take that opportunity. And part of that is really leveraging a team. This is your opportunity to give people a chance to do that fundraising. As someone asked earlier about, people want to do things in order to fundraise. They want to run a marathon, and they want to raise money for you. They want to walk across the United States, or line up dominoes to around the block. They want to do an ice bucket challenge. They want to do things to help you, enable them. If you can, set up ways through your site to have your own version of kind of a crowdfunding, where you give them the opportunity to set up their own fundraisers. Let it be self-sustaining, so you're not having to implement anything every time. It's just let them go. Give them the information they need in order to set them up. For example, if you've got an email account that you always use for PayPal, make that be something that's available for them to send the funds to. Provide it, people give to people, and then it's gonna roll up to you. So help them tell your story, give them the information, and create opportunities, such as this. Continuing with my example of World Wildlife Fund, they call it Panda Nation. It could be almost anything. You can name it whatever you want. You create the opportunity for them to create a fundraiser. If they're going to climb that mountain anyway, give them an opportunity to raise funds while doing it. They loved it. I'm not hearing that from anybody else. So, and the attending numbers haven't changed. So I'm not sure. Chelsea, I'm sorry, I'm cutting out for a chat thing, but yeah. So give your constituents, give the folks who care about you, that want to help, and that are doing other things that are going on in their lives. Maybe they're doing a car wash. Maybe they're looking for someone to sponsor them playing golf. All those kinds of fun things. There are lots of platforms for doing that. There's some that you can do in your own site. There are lots of different ones out there, Beth, that allow you to do this. Some of them are not set up for that, and like Kickstarter, which is so famous, they actually exclude nonprofits. They don't do nonprofits. Whereas there's some like Causes. There's a new one coming up called Giving Group. There are several that are geared for causes and nonprofits. So there are lots of different options. What I always tell people is read the fine print, because each of them are very different. Cause Voice, exactly, Amy. That's another Cause Box, Cause Voice. There's lots of different ones out there. You always want to make sure you read the fine print, because they all handle things differently. What they charge for the percentage, the interchange, as well as do you get everything if you don't hit 100%? What happens? But check them out. But make the information available. If you're not hosting it all on your own site, which you could, if you're using somebody else's platform, like a CauseVox or Indiegogo, one of those, what you can do is just make sure that you provide them with the information they need in your site to get the funds back to you, and to inspire them to do it. For instance, this page gives ideas. Special occasions, athletic events, sponsor your favorite animal, et cetera, et cetera. So honors, and what I tell everybody, if on your donations page you don't have a way to honor or memorialize someone as part of your giving, that's low-hanging fruit. Make sure it's on your donation form that they can give a donation in honor of or in memory of someone. Make it a gift to someone for the holidays are coming. Is it a Hanukkah gift? Is it a Christmas present? Is it a birthday gift? Is it in memory of someone's favorite aunt or their parents? Make it easy. Share the content. Enable them through your site and through your function, because you can be a small nonprofit. You can have 3 people and rule the world if you just set it up to enable your supporters. You can have thousands of supporters out there and have an organization with only 3 staff and be very successful at it. I work with a lot of smaller nonprofits who do just that. They're enabling the folks who care about them. One of the things is make it easy. This is actually a client of ours that we did a small fundraising piece on their site for them, so that they could do regular things, because they work with Boy Scouts and they wanted to give them the opportunity to do as many of those, sell Christmas wreaths, make cookies, whatever it might be, camp for 3 nights and trek how many miles in the woods and raise funds for that, raise funds based on that, whatever the different goals might be, and give them the opportunity to raise funds for their local region. It was, it's a small fundraising kind of approach, but it works for them. And of course, make it easy to do. Don't make them guess. Don't make it a long form, but make it enough information and give them, select some amounts, make it easy, and give them the opportunity. It's a little hard to see on this page, I realize, but when someone's doing a donation, if you want to donate in honor of somebody's fundraising efforts, have it tied together so that no matter how they come in, they can make sure that they credit little Joey's car wash as the reason that they're giving. They can't go to the car wash, but because they're grandma and they live far away. But hey, they can give you some money in honor of Joey's little car wash. And then when it gets down to it, your supporters, your folks, the folks who care about you, everybody's busy, and as Annette started out by saying about cause buyers, there's lots of ways to do it. Make passive giving really easy. That Amazon Smile, I'm one of those. I do that. And tell people, hey, if you shop at Amazon, buy the stuff you're normally going to buy anyway. Just log in through the Amazon Smile version. You can give us money. And this makes life super easy. And there are several of these kind of things. Amazon's the biggest one because, of course, so many people buy so many different things through Amazon. But there are others too. There's Shop for Good. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on some of the other names. But there's a couple others out there. But there are different ways to give passively, to make it easy. Things people are going to buy anyway, whether they're a cause-based buyer or not. Make it easy. Let them know. How can you support us without having to spend any extra money? Because maybe they don't have it. Maybe they don't have any extra money. They love your cause, but, they're family, small kids, supporting parents. They're in the squeeze generation, but they love you. They want to make sure that, okay, they're going to buy that toilet paper anyway. Let's have a percentage of it go to our favorite charity. So what this really does is it changes the social fundraising function. It's not just you and your team reaching out to send information out, to push for engagement, whether it's requests for money or requests for volunteers, et cetera, for corporate sponsors. It's really creating a bigger staff in many ways without their overhead. From folks in the community, from folks who care about you, whether it's they're volunteers, they're folks who use your services, people who care about them, people who hear about you. one of your volunteers shares that information, a video from your website about how important it was for them to donate their time because they cared so much. Somebody spots that on their Facebook page and shares that information on. You're creating more awareness. And as Annette said, as Amy has said, there are lots of things that competing for people's attention. It does require people hearing your name, hearing your message, connecting those dots for many times over many points of time and many points of interaction in order to really know who you are. So what this does is it takes those folks who normally would be receiving these messages and turning them into the folks delivering them. They become your advocates. They become your voice. You've enabled them through uses of technology and getting your messages out there in the electronic world so that it's not you having to do the push every time. It's really allowing them to turn into your fundraising staff and your development staff and marketers. There are lots of resources to level. Is it Amazon Smile, Causes, and of course, Social Raise and Ticks for Cause. But I'm going to open it up now and just say thank you so much. And do we have other questions that people have? Because we only do have a couple of minutes left before 3 o'clock Eastern.
Hi, Kathy. Yeah, I actually wanted to convey a question. Thank you all for listening and participating, and thanks for thanks for being here, because obviously it's really important for you to find to always be learning and improving. So thank you and applause to you for always bettering and improving yourself. That's something we're always trying to do as well. Okay, so the question is, Cassie, let me go back. Social media, our board is very concerned about losing control if we let other people make comments. So I think okay, let me start with saying if you create the content on your site and allow it to be shared, first off, you're controlling the message to a certain level. Yes, people are going to dress it up when they send it out to Facebook or LinkedIn. They may say, they may use inappropriate language to say this is the hottest S**T out there. You should know about them. They may use terms that you don't like, but the central core message that's there is something you've created. So you have control over it there. It can be ugly otherwise, because if they're making it up because they don't know, because you haven't supplied it, that's when you get really crazy stuff. And your board can sleep at night if you've crafted the messages and just created them in such a way that allows them to be shared digitally. Sure. And in the for-profit world, I've seen that was an issue years ago when Facebook was newer, right? And
right.
We've been testing it all these years, so people generally they know the rules, and it can happen, but it happens infrequently. But as Cassie explained, and she gave the tools earlier in the presentation, those if you provide the tools to your constituents, allow them to use those. And, the research, I want to say it was Blackbaud study, but I'm not positive. You have a 90% better return on a higher return on giving from an ask from one of your constituents than an ask from your organization. And
yep.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the number. So that's compelling. Period. Okay. That's a big question.
The biggest mistake I've seen nonprofits make is to assume if they just put out their standard information and not something shareable, that people will still be able to just share big chunks of information, long, involved, technical conversations, especially about advocacy and things. It's not true. People have short attention spans. They want short, sweet, to the point, but you want to make sure you craft that and provide it for them, because if they're having to turn lots of information that's buried in your site into bullet points, it won't be pretty.
And I would add to that, the number one thing that I see nonprofits is really to just accept the status quo. no matter what it is. I mean, you just need to always continue to push for, new and innovative ways to do, literally everything, and just to kind of push the envelope.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that look at change as an opportunity, not as just a challenge.
And
exactly.
And we had a little clarification and that it was specific to fundraising online. So that being the case, in what I'd like to say to add to Annette's comment, but also go back to something she said earlier, it's all about building a relationship. And the biggest mistake, as I've talked to experts in this field, that nonprofits make with fundraising online is what Cassie just said, put it out there and expecting it to just do all of the work for you too. If you're going to expect Facebook, for example, to be a direct fundraising tool for your organization, you're going to be sorely disappointed if the only messages you're putting out there are, asks, donate now. It needs to be an ongoing way. It's an ongoing way for you to engage your supporters, your constituents, and get them to the point where they're telling people about you as well and tapping into those social networks that you otherwise can't get into. So, and
you need to let them tell your story. You need to give them your story to tell. And then they're going to put their personal spin on it about how much it means to them. And the combination of the content you provide and their passion is so much more powerful coming for requests for money or to inspire a give than it ever is coming from one of us as professional development types.
Agreed. If you wanted to get an overview, I was just going to give you the poll numbers. Those who replied, we had 83% said that they are not, their organizations are not utilizing cause marketing. And I know we had a question about from two small organizations as to how they can align themselves with a corporation, given that they are such a small organization. I thought you, either Cassie or Annette, maybe want to speak to how a small organization would be able to participate or get a cause marketing movement going.
Yeah, I'm sorry if there was some confusion. You do not need to align yourself with a corporation. I put in there the corporation information just to kind of give you an idea of the magnitude of spend that is out there associated with products and services that give back. In fact, the smaller organizations can actually benefit from cause marketing as much as the larger organizations. You do not have to be aligned with a corporation. You just assign your organization, your nonprofit up with these various cause marketing platforms. And Cassie has given you a couple of others as well. That are aligned with getting a portion of the spend for those products and services coming back to your organization. And I think I've seen a comment where they only deal with corporations. Cassie said it perfectly. Corporations are made up of individuals. So if that is a campaign that you can build within your corporation alignment and get the individuals within that corporation to be consumers and use cause-based marketing platforms to benefit you all, the better. So small or large, doesn't make any difference. Most of them are free to join. It's very easy to join them. And really, it's just about getting the messaging out that you are participating in those programs so that people can benefit you with their everyday purchases.
And Cassie, Annette, thank you very much for your presentation. Chock full of great content. And speaking of which, just to summarize, there are a couple takeaways from Cassie's portion, that the content is really important. Give your constituents the tools to share your story, certainly put it together so that they can easily do that and share it. That's what social media is all about. Your website someone should be able to look at that and say, what's it about, who's it about, and why should I care? And if your site is not doing that, you really need to retool it. And I would even suggest look at your website from your smartphone and ask those same questions, and maybe also ask, where can I give? You know, because oftentimes you can't navigate properly and
somewhere between 70 and 80% of people who use Facebook are doing it from their phones.
Yes. Yes. It's so connected. Social media, exactly. Social media, especially Facebook, very heavily mobile users. So please keep that in mind. Some other key takeaways, as Annette pointed out, you know, there are an entire portion of consumers that are cause-based and with intent to do good. So that is your, you know, that's your sweet spot. Nonprofits, you know, do them a favor. It's you know, it's the holiday giving season. If it's Christmas, if it's Hanukkah, if you're getting gifts, think of it. I like to look at it this way. Turn it around a little bit. You're a nonprofit organization. You have a gift to give the gift giver. That is a gift of a wonderful thought, sentiment. It doesn't necessarily have to be a pair of shoes or a phone, but something that's going to help them give something special and give while doing good. So that's fabulous. I especially like the proceed using transparency. If you're going the cause marketing route, it's very important to highlight the value and also share the impact people want to see that. And it can be very easy. Don't forget the UPS guy. That's a good one. That's a good little tweet. Don't forget the UPS guy. But specifically because you don't know who else is going to take your organization's message and be able to deliver it and to a whole nother group of folks. So those were some of the big key takeaways. I'm going to pass it over to Annette and Cassie to close out with their final remarks. And after that, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you, and you'll get an email a little bit later with the recording. So if you want to take it away, Annette, and closing remarks, and then Cassie, and say goodbye.
Sure. I appreciate you attending. I think the just main takeaway is that there is a huge potential to tap in to the social cause-based buying in many ways. And I mean, if you have any questions or this is new to you, or if you need a reference, feel free to give me a call and I can certainly share with you with what I know. But again, it's a huge opportunity and really no risk and no cost, or relatively no cost to your organization. So an opportunity you should take a look at.
Thanks, Annette. And this is Cassie, and I just wanted to say thanks so much again for coming. If you have any questions, that is my direct line on the screen, as well as, of course, my email address. Feel free to reach out. Happy to answer anything that you might have not thought of or might think of as soon as you close the webinar. So we look forward to hopefully working with you in the future, and thank Amy and the organization for inviting us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Amy. Bye-bye.
Bye.